Gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today as members of the Rising Sun Fire Department to honor the life of retired firefighter and EMT David Shively. We thank him for his service to the department and the community. We ask that you be with his family and friends, especially wife Lisa, his children Matt, Dustin, and Shauna during this difficult time. You know the path that you must set for each of us, and as you guide us daily, may your will be done as Dave goes home with you. In your name we pray, and may all God's people say, amen.
Today we gather for a service like none other than we have ever had before. A few weeks ago, when I saw that a different fire department had lost a former chief, one of my first thoughts was how sad that this man would not receive the goodbye that he deserves from his community due to this new norm. That is a term that I grow to resent more and more each day, by the way. I remember thinking that I was glad that it was not our department that was tasked with giving a proper send-off during this time. Well, here we are, and that's what we are about to attempt. I struggle with the decision to record this service and post it on social media. I'm almost certain that some will think it inappropriate or something could have been done better. Then I spoke with Dave's wife Lisa and told her my plan. Her response was that she thought Dave would approve, and I believe he would. He would find comfort in it. So for some reason, if anyone feels that this service is lacking something or could have been done differently, I guess all that I ask is that you take respect for Dave's family into account and keep it to yourself. Last call service for David Michael Shively, October 23rd, 1965 to April 20th, 2020. Today we gather to honor the service of our brother, David Michael Shively. Some say that it takes a special kind of person to answer the call of public service. I personally think that it takes a particularly special kind of person to answer the call in a community that they do not yet belong to. Dave answered that call immediately after moving here and quickly became a big part of the community and our family. As a matter of fact, his whole family became a part of this family. His wife and mother joined the fire auxiliary, his son became a junior firefighter, and then a firefighter, all due to Dave's influence. Then Dave took a step further and became an EMT. Dave was a passionate man, and he was fiercely protective of his friends and family. I think everyone here fell into the category of family for Dave. I know personally that I have been on both sides of the coin when it came to Dave's protective nature. He was always quick to come to my defense as a friend, but spared no mercy if he felt that somehow I had gotten out of line. I can remember one particularly difficult call early in my tenure as chief. Maybe I was still assistant chief, it doesn't matter. But Dave was not afraid to stand up and say what needed to be said. It was a mass casualty incident involving some young children. A difficult decision needed to be made quickly. That night, as a new chief and a medic student, maybe I was finding it difficult to give the order that we all knew needed to be given. Dave did not hesitate for 1 second to step in and remind me of the protocol before he confidently moved on to complete the task that he had been assigned. Later, he was quick to defend my decisions when others that were not there thought to question them. That was the kind of man that Dave Shively was. There is one incident that is often recounted here that I cannot not share. I had decided that the language here needed to be cleaned up a bit, so I instituted a no profanity policy. I think this was the first policy change that I implemented as chief. If not, it was one of the first. I will admit I was a little nervous about making any changes. We all know how firefighters feel about change. Anyways, I made up signs and wrote a policy. I stood up on meeting night and read that policy aloud to the group. Part of that new policy was that members would be fined 25 cents for each infraction. Well, at that point, it became obvious that Dave was not too excited about this change. He stood up with a huff, walked out of that meeting. I can remember thinking to myself as he stopped down the stairs, well, I guess Dave won't be back. But I was wrong. About 10 minutes later, Dave stopped backing up the steps, opened the door, took about 2 steps before he slammed a $20 check down on the desk and loudly stated, "There, that ought to hold me for a while." And he sat back down and we finished that meeting. If I say nothing else about Dave, he was an outspoken individual. He wore his heart on his sleeve, and I feel as though I am a better person for having known him. The tolling of the bell. Long before the internet was invented, or telephones or radios and pagers were used to alert us to an emergency, fire departments used the telegraph to communicate. Using special codes to receive fire alarms from those once familiar red alarm boxes, which stood practically on every street corner in larger cities like New York or Chicago. When a firefighter was lost, or in the language of the military and public service, fell in the line of duty, the fire alarm office would tap out a special signal that would be tapped out as 5 measured dashes, then a pause, 5 measured dashes, then a pause, then 5 more measured dashes. This came to be known as the tolling of the bell and was broadcast over the telegraph fire alarm circuits to all station houses in the vicinity. This was done for the purpose of notification and as a sign of honor and respect for all firefighters who had made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their communities. Such symbolism has been a time-honored fire service tradition and is repeated at each service of a fallen firefighter. Today we extend this honor to our brother, David Michael Shively. Godspeed, sir. We will take it from here.